three. We had three classes. This is the third. So it's been Buddhist practices that lighten the heart. But I think I said last week, I think um, all the practices are designed to lighten the heart. So it's kind of a, but it's not always, it doesn't always appear that way because, Buddha's first teaching was about suffering, right? Four noble truths, they were called. So, he felt it necessary to emphasize that um, this isn't a very satisfactory um, situation that we find ourselves in. It's just a lot of uncertainty uh, and things go wrong. Um, we get sick and we lose things we like and we come in contact with things we don't like. And so it's not always even though the practices are to lighten the heart and get free of suffering, um, it's important to kind of know what we're up against, I think. So, yeah, but the focus has been more on the practice of rejoicing or gratitude or what are other words? Um, Celebrating, appreciating. In fact, one definition, I've always wondered about a definition for rejoicing because it's not really a word. Uh, it's not in the West, it's not really a word that's used very much. So joyful appreciation. So it adds, not just appreciating or having gratitude, but there's a joyfulness and a real a deep, heartfelt um, appreciation. So rejoicing is a practice that's common in Tibetan Buddhism. Comes up again and again, and sometimes even when there's like um, meditation practices um, where there's a spot where there's a verse, say, on rejoicing. Uh, is Lama Zopa on the up here? Yeah, Lama Zopa. Um, he instructed students to pause there, and I mean there are other places he would have, but he made it a point, to pause at that verse and contemplate things that we are thankful for. And so the first class of these three, we talked about kind of how in Western um, in Western psychology, gratitude is said to be very healthy for us. It's very stress reducing. Keep a journal, um, write down things that you're grateful for. A lot of times the bent is more personal and your own well-being and things that like I'm thankful for having certain people in my life and having certain comforts and uh, turn on the shower and there's hot water and like really not just taking things for granted, but being very appreciative. Um, and that the studies show, and I'm gonna bring up a study later that was sort of inspired by I think the Book of Joy by it's about the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu and a meeting they had. Really great book. It's got pictures of them together and a lot of joy in that book. Um, and they've both been through a lot of hard times, right? Dalai Lama had to flee his country in 1959. There's a lot of destruction in Tibet and hardship, um, hardship for people. So there's still It doesn't mean that they're always, it doesn't mean they don't cry. It doesn't mean they don't feel sadness. It's not that. It's not like, oh, just be happy all the time, no matter what. Um, there's still a reflection on compassion and suffering in the world, but also love, which um, gratitude, I think, and rejoicing have a lot of connection with. Um, so we kind of looked at that, and so in Buddhism, it's more. I think there's that there's that piece of it, but it's also like emphasizing maybe more our interconnection with others and the rarity of this situation we do have, because there's more idea about rebirth, right? That this is a life in many lives, and the mind is beginningless, endless. So we take these rebirths, right? And so this is really rare when we can be healthy, and we can meet teachings that actually that can help us discover the nature of our own mind, and actually try to has a path that can help us understand a way to deal with difficult situations and our suffering, how to overcome it. Not 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 in a temporary way, but in a very long-term way, very lasting way. Um, I brought it before that Freud, Western psychology, he said the best we could hope for is to be slightly neurotic, whereas Buddhism says you can become enlightened, totally blissed out, and reach our highest potential possible and be able to help others in the best way possible. A very, very kind of different base to start from, right? Very optimistic, very, very encouraging, something to rejoice about, And our belief about who we are and what we are has a lot to do with what turns out, right? So I think that's where the proof is kind of in do you know that expression, the proof is in the pudding? Oh, you know that one. Okay. I guess it's that, like, whether you made it right or not, it's how it tastes. Is that what yeah, something like that. So it's like, if it's effective, like if it's, if we think, um, if we think we're no good and we can't do anything and it's impossible, then that's very limiting. We don't try. But if we think anything's possible, and there's a lot of evidence for that, given that, there's airplanes and computers and cell phones that we never thought would exist back in my day when we had typewriters and landlines, you know, it's like, so why can't the mind develop beyond its current limited scope? Yeah. So, so so last week we looked at some of the things that get in the way of that, like when we have strong resentment or anger or jealousy, um, things like that, where we worry too much about things, we obsess about things. So we have certain beliefs, um, um, like, you know, this is the worst thing that could ever happen. I can't stand it. This shouldn't be happening. Certain ways that we frame things to ourselves sometimes limit us, because uh, it's this is the worst thing. It throws us into shock, or I can't stand it. And then, if we examined it, we could see that we have endured and got through things in the past. So it's sort of this sort of thing of using our reasoning is really important in Tibetan Buddhism, using our logic and our reasoning, so that the faith we have, or the conviction we have in it being a helpful path to follow, because it is a path of mental development. It is a path of spiritual development. So there is a map, and everybody, looks at the map and finds out which way they want to go, and there's lots of different paths to take, and a lot of options for a lot of different types of people. So Um, his whole thing was he didn't, so people wouldn't suffer. Don't want people to suffer. It's not about I want a big following or this is the philosophy you have to believe in, you know. It's more like the Dalai Lama says that philosophy that's one side, the other side is be kind, be kind to yourself and kind to others. So really, you know, so sweet, in my mind, so sweet. So this week I wanted to try to, focus a little more on Buddhist Buddhist practices of rejoicing and joyful appreciation. Um, yeah. So and then yeah, then I was going to reference this the Big Joy Project later on. There's something that you can actually, if you want to, get involved in online, and they're accumulating data for people who do like a week of gratitude exercises and see and then track what kind of changes they feel in their life. So sometimes having some kind of a program is really helpful for us to, like I go to a gym twice a week and I go to a class. If I went on my own, I probably wouldn't work as hard as I do in this class. So sometimes it's good to get in and take a class or a program or something that keeps you, and then it reminds you every day, oh, but what can I be? So we'll look at that. What can I be doing to be rejoicing, being grateful? And it gives us ideas, things to look at. So we'll look at that later. I wanted to we're going to do a meditation soon, but I wanted to bring up something that I just I was looking for a book. I didn't know what book. I just was looking to see what book I wanted to take on a trip with me, and I picked up this book, and in it was a piece of paper, and I looked at the piece of paper, and it was an email um, from 2017. So it was when I was working as a counselor in a high school. So I'm trying not to give away names or anything. I'm not going to say any names, but I remembered the email, but I couldn't remember the exact way that the person expressed. Uh, so I wanted to read a little bit to you. Okay. So she said um, so it kind of gives a bit of a background. So I once I once you once spoke to me about how in the face of adversity that has no chance of changing. So like if you have family situation or a relationship thing or problem at work and it doesn't, you've done everything you can, I must change myself. So previously I took this in the wrong way and said something along the lines, why should I change? I'm not to blame. So sometimes we blame somebody else for our problems. And like if they would just go to therapy, we'd be okay. You know, if my husband would just go to therapy, if my wife would just go, you know, then everything would be okay. If people would just see it my way, everything would be okay. People would just get their life together, I'd be okay. So anyway, and so she did. I mean, I remember this. Like this was her senior year, so it was like 4 years this went on, and we did all we could with the family. We tried, I mean, I don't want to get into details, but we did all we could. And it was like, okay, well, now I think it's time to look what you can do. And so she thought, oh, so you're saying I'm at fault because if we're in the blame game, we're going to blame either somebody else or put ourselves down. Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm a terrible person, I need. And so it's okay to look at what problems we have, but when we get into the character assassination, like we're gonna totally destroy our whole being because of this problem we have, then it brings us down. So, but now I realize my mistake. I understand now that you meant that in order to survive and thrive in a difficult environment, you need to change in order to take care of yourself. Okay? Huge, huh? I mean, reading this is just so helpful to me. Again, it's not like I don't need to hear this, you know. I think we all need to hear this, that we need to take care of ourselves. Meditation, a lot of meditation is taking, first we have to take care of ourselves, you know. It's hard to help others and be a benefit to others if we're not benefiting ourselves, kind to ourselves, you know. Seeing our own faults helps us be more compassionate toward others, you know. We're a little more humble. Wait, I have faults too, you know. I have things I can work on. So um, I understand that it is unfortunate that I have been in this situation. So that's really good. It's unfortunate. I just think noticing that word instead of it's unfair or it's not right or this shouldn't be happening. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, it's too bad. You know, it's not my preference. I'd rather be different. I'm getting chills right now. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like so touching. Yeah. But because the situation will probably not change, I mean, it could still change, you know, but don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath that it's going to change, you know, or the put all your eggs in one basket. You know, don't put your well-being in the hands of a situation or somebody else. Because Buddhism is trying to get us to get in touch with unconditional love in ourself, right? Unconditional happiness. Interesting, huh? Because conditioned things change, conditioned things, you know, there's suffering involved when things change. And change is good because we can get better and move along. But I mean, a state where you're not perturbed by that flux, you know, you can stay happy. Doesn't mean you're indifferent or that you withdraw or that you don't interact. Doesn't mean that. But from where you come from is a place of contentment. So I need to change how I respond to my environment so that I don't suffer from it. Amazing, huh? So good. So good. I realize this has helped me get in a mode of positive thinking. So, you know, we can complain a lot. So that's the opposite of rejoicing, isn't it? Complain a lot. Whoever makes that a practice, it's not a meditational practice. Sit down and complain a lot. Moan and groan and, you know, I mean, I'm good at that. I can do that. I can do that with the best of them, you know. I had a sticker on I said this on my computer for a while that I read from a teacher said, don't complain about anything, even to yourself. And it became a little reminder to me whenever just like, that's a great practice during the day, you know, like catch yourself, you know, if you complain, you know, am I complain? Oh, wow, and not out of, oh, you know, now you're complaining about complaining, but just notice it and go, okay. And then just in the noticing and being aware of it, we shift, you know. So anyway, she's noticed. So I've been thinking about your words about meditation. So then she started reading Thich Nhat Hanh's Peace in Every Step. You know Thich Nhat Hanh? You've heard of him? Yeah. Meditation is not necessarily just sitting in one place and focusing on the breath, but can also be mindfulness throughout each day. Meditation is essentially being in the present. So by being aware of yourself and your surroundings, and one way of doing that is to follow your breath, you can be calmer and happier. I've been trying to work on meditation, and I plan to read more books about meditation and religion and related subjects. So I think, you know, that also ties into, like, in Buddhism stresses, you know, listening, reading, contemplating, thinking about it, and then meditating on it. Meditating is more like incorporating it into your lived experience, so it becomes just part of how you are. So it's a process, and it can take time, and it can take time to change habits, you know. But when I think yeah, I mentioned later that one of the ways to develop gratitude is to have these moments of awe. You know, like you see a beautiful butterfly or the light, the way it comes through the trees. But I think also aha moments, not just being awed by something, but when you have a insight or realization, like this, we can rejoice in this happening, you know, right? We can really rejoice in and appreciate. And sometimes we use our own experience that we've had those, and we can go, and it can make us remember that, or it can inspire us, you know, that wow, she had an insight. I've always thought we should celebrate those days more than our birthdays, our New Year's Eve, like days that we had insights that changed our life. Maybe it came after an illness or something. Sometimes it does. Sometimes we have an illness where we're forced to stay in bed or stay home and reflect a bit because, wow, I'm I'm fragile, you know. Um, this life is short, and we get gets us to assess, and so then wow. So, sometimes if we can mark those days, then we remember that experience, and then that helps us maintain that um, to further that insight. Because in Buddhism, insight, you can have an experience, you can have a meditative experience about something, but a realization or it sometimes takes longer to become. It becomes long. It takes longer to become um, a lasting, so it's stable, to become stable. So that's why, like, why people practice daily meditation, right? To develop some stability, some habit change. So the habits change, and then they stay changed. How many people, maybe they smoke, and then they stop, and then they start, and then they stop, and then start and start. So we do that with mental afflictions as well. Like, we're jealous, and uh, then we're not, and then a situation comes up and we are again. But if we've worked on it, then every time it comes up, maybe it takes less time for us to get through it. Maybe it doesn't hold on to us longer, right? So the more we work on mental things like that, or anger. Some people give up. They go, "Well, I'm just an angry person. Take it or leave it. I'm just an angry person." Well, okay. So you identify with your anger. I am anger, but that person isn't always angry. So they don't want to, maybe they haven't run into something that said, okay, this isn't helping me. This isn't helping me in my life. This is causing me more pain than thinking I'm right all the time. So, and then patience. So patience with that. So anyway, I just felt that was, you know, inspiration to me also. I hope to you to like meditate and stick with it, you know. Stuck with it. She stuck with it, and it's like the Dharma can uh, what's the word? Not percolate, but it sits there and it's germinating. You get an idea, and it's a seed, and first maybe you reject it, you know, and then you go, wait a minute, and then you start giving it some thought, like some water, some attention, some dirt, and then it starts to germinate, you know, and you still have to keep giving it some nutrition and sunlight, you know, and then, so meditation is really really helpful place to uh, start a garden of good qualities, you know, a garden of good qualities. Yeah. Um, let's do a short meditation, okay? Yeah. Okay. So so it's good to sit comfortably. Um, Good to have a back straight. We don't want to be too tight and we don't want to be too loose. So it's sort of like we don't want to be too dull, we don't want to be sleepy, and not too agitated. So, there's things to do. If we're too agitated, then maybe we need to lay down on our back and meditate that way. Having the back straight and being self-supporting sometimes helps us be more alert. So the hands can be any way you want. I mean, this is kind of traditional, um, but you can have them on your hands, on your knees. So just be aware of your body at first. Just be aware of sitting here, and just be aware of sensations in your body, the soles of your feet, and all the way up to the top of your head. And let go of any tension. You bring your awareness to any tension. Sometimes we go through the whole day not being aware of our feet, only when something hurts, or I try to bring awareness to the body, letting go of tension in the shoulders and the neck and the face. And also relaxing the mind, uh, just letting thoughts of the past or the future flow through. We don't have to embrace them or reject them. Just maintaining awareness of the body. And now bring awareness to your breath and be aware of the movement in your tummy as you breathe. And just breathe, let the breath flow naturally. If your attention wanders away, you just gently bring it back to the breath. Now imagine just above the crown of your head, using your imagination, visualization, a ball of light just above the crown of your head, about the same size as your head, a round ball of light, transparent. You can see right through it. It's very brilliant, bright light. And if you can't, picture it, then just know it's there. Just know it's there. And you're looking with your mind, not you don't have to look up with your eyes. Just imagine it's there above the crown of your head. Like we would imagine our picture, like we'd picture our bedroom. or the car we came here in. You know, we can easily get a picture of things. So this is a ball of light, and you know, about the um, size of our head. And it represents all the positive qualities in the universe, all coming together in this ball of light. All the wisdom, compassion, love, patience, tolerance, well-being, their greatest potential. All these positive qualities in this ball of light, all collected together. So feel its power and its kindness and its intelligence. And this ball of light starts to get smaller. Doesn't lose any of its potency. It just gets more condensed and gets smaller and smaller till it's about the size of a ping pong ball, just above the crown of our head, radiating light, transparent. And it comes down through the crown of our head, and our body is mostly space, they say, very porous. So there's no obstruction. It just comes down through the crown of our head, down to our heart center. It's very small. It's like size of a pinhead at our heart. Very bright, radiating out. Fills up our whole body. Our whole body becomes a body of light. Our torso, and feel and imagine this, that our body is full of this light that is wisdom and compassion and love to its greatest extent. Limitless love, limitless compassion. Very healthy. Fills up our torso and our limbs, our legs and our hands, our arms, up through our shoulders and our neck and our head. Our body is a body of light. Very soothing, peaceful. All the bones become light, the flesh, and thoughts too. Thoughts, feelings. This light radiates out from our body, and everything it touches turns to light. There's something to this. I mean, most of what we bring in through our eyes is light, and goes out, everything becomes light, transparent, full of love, compassion, wisdom, and health. So our body and the whole environment and everyone in it has such a lightness to it. energy. And you feel so connected in a very loving, compassionate, intelligent way. Now this light starts to come back. It reached the limits, the limitlessness of the universe, connecting us to all it is. And now it's coming back, drawing back, but that connection doesn't go away. But the light starts to come back and our ordinary view starts to return as the light comes into our body and our and absorbing back up from our legs and our we start to see our how we usually see our body, but now we're influenced by this lightness of our being and the wisdom and compassion that's in it. It starts to come up and all this light collects again at our heart center. There's no obstruction. There's no pressure, no tension. And this little ball of light at our heart gets smaller and smaller. It's about the size of a pinhead. Doesn't lose any of that potency, any of that connection. And it's always right there. Always right there with us all the time. It's not far-fetched. We can access compassion. We can access wisdom and intelligence and well-being. So we have that potential. We have that resource. We have that capability. Recognizing it and fostering it is the trick. Okay, so we'll bring it to a close there. Okay, I'm gonna blah blah a little more. Want to just stay there? So the trick is like one of the things is how to stay in that for all of us, how to stay in that space, right? How to stay in a meditative space when we're out walking around. So the meditations are more of almost like how to like simulating a simulation tank. how am I, how to be when I go out in the world, when I interact with people and thoughts come up during the day. Gives us some tools for that. We can make a determination in the morning today when I meet so and so who always knows what buttons to push. And I know just what they're going to say. And I know what I've said many times. I'm going to see if there's some other way I can approach it by either seeing them differently or there's so many techniques. There's even one of like if somebody makes you mad, just be like a stone, be like a rock. Like, you know, funny, huh? To me, that's a funny one. It's sort of like don't react. Just like, yeah, I mean, there's other ways, there's like, yeah, so I think when you being patient, I'm going to practice patience today. So when that comes up, I'm going to just tune into my breath and pause, take a pause and before I say anything and try to think that they're probably having problems themselves. That's why they're angry. That's why they're upset, or they learned that when they were growing up. That's how they know to deal with to protect themselves, take care of themselves. Doesn't make it all right, but you know, we have to, like the letter said, we have to take care of ourselves, right? We have to take care of ourselves first. Yeah. And that, that what that does though, then we have an effect on other people then, right? If you start, I did parenting classes, right? At this high school. So one of the things was to check up how you're feeling, before you react, before you say something to somebody. Like if your child makes you angry, then be aware that you're feeling angry or hurt or annoyed, and that operating out of that space is probably not going to have a good result. So there's two things there: recognizing what emotions bring good results and which ones and what things that we say and what don't. And so uh, this one parent said, so so it's like not just reacting, knee-jerk response, you know, but um, responding in a way that could be effective. The class was called Systematic Training for Effective Parenting. So it wasn't how to manipulate your child to do what you want them to do. Right? So this one parent said, "Yeah, I mean, my teen said something to me, and I didn't say anything because I was checking up." Lamia used to say that all the time. Check up, dear. Check up. She said I was checking up, what I was feeling and what a good response would be. And so I was doing that, and my son said, "Mom, are you all right?" Like he wasn't used to that, right? Was it so? So people have to adjust to your new way of being. I mean, they may try to pull you back into the old way by upping their what they say to get you back, because that's a pattern that's comfortable to them in a way, right? That's how they're. But if you don't buy into it, if you don't, you know, then there eventually some adjustment will be made. So so anyway, that was, I mean, that was amazing that she could do that in that situation. So so then she could talk to him about what was going on for her, right? And that was really like meta communication, talking about how we communicate. Your mom needed a timeout. Mom needs to go to her room and sit for a little bit to calm down. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about rejoicing. Okay. Let's get back to rejoicing. So there in Tibetan Buddhism, there's many things to rejoice about. I mentioned earlier about this situation we have. So the situation of having this being born human and having being, for the, we have um, basically pretty good health. You could say we can think, we can reason, we uh, we have some stability, we have some life. A life situation where we have the leisure to come to a Dharma center, and that we have interest, that we want to look at our minds and make, try to make the world a better place. Maybe, I mean, maybe I'm speculating, but make something better. The whole, not maybe not the whole world, but maybe my world or people around me. There's some um, connection, right? To and you've been here before, and you've been here before, so it's like there's some. So how many people in the world? I mean, there are a lot of there are you could say there are a lot of there are people, you know. I mean, it's not just Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism. I mean, there's other kinds of Buddhism. There's also different religions where people are making this kind of effort to um, get in touch with how the mind really is and understand how we see reality, and is it actually the way it appears to us, or is it, is it different, or what are some afflictive, problematic emotions I have that would be good to work. I mean, so, um, but if you take into account all living beings on just on this planet, the animals, say the animal realm is huge. They don't have this opportunity so much, right? They don't really. I mean, you can't a parrot, a dog wouldn't understand if you started to talk to them about. I mean, you can train them to some extent, but are they interested in transforming their mind to, you know what I mean? So we have this situation that's really that's one thing to it's so rare. They use examples like I don't know if they actually use this one, but the amount of the amount of dirt that's under one fingernail is about how rare this is compared to all the dirt on the planet, compared to all living beings, and they talk about not just human realm, but other realms. So other ways that people, animals, and it's one that we can see. They have this one where this blind tortoise is swimming in the ocean, right? Blind, and every 100 years it comes up to surface, and there's this golden ring floating around on the ocean. What are the chances it's going to put its head through it? So that's how rare they say. Even believing in, even having a feel or for reincarnation, that we have many lives. That for the causes and conditions to come together for us to be born a human being where we have health. There are teachers around that we can learn from. The Dalai Lama's credible example. Gets up at 3 in the morning, meditates for 5 hours. I mean, he doesn't just rest on his laurels. He's got a Nobel Peace Prize, and you know, he's like he practices every day. So we have these examples in our life, and teachers. There's a teacher coming tomorrow. I don't know this person. His Eminence, not sure. On the 8 verses, teaching on the 8 verses, right? Yeah. Would, huh? Kunling Rinpoche. Yeah. So, and the trail has the 8 verses on it. So get a good teaching on the 8 verses. So it's like people who have devoted their life to training the mind and developing the mind. We're really good about developing the material world. Um, I'm not sure if that's bringing us any closer to peace and harmony and, you know, contentment. Not sure. But I'm pretty sure developing the mind will. So we find ourselves, so this is something to rejoice about. Wow, I'm fortunate. I'm lucky. Lucky. Lucky, I think, means we created the cause for it. We created the cause for this to happen. That's in Buddhism, it's not by chance. It's not by chance, it's not by luck, it's not by, you know, it's like our mind created the cause for us to be in this situation. Through being very generous and keeping ethics, good ethics, and having an aspiration. So we created the cause. So um, and we know this causes and conditions to come together for something to happen. It's and then they disperse, right? Then they're gone. So they're just saying like really rejoice, and the rejoicing, the joyful appreciation, really helps us. I think not just oh yeah, I'm really lucky. It's like really feeling it, then there's more energy, right? We can feel that there's more energy. Like, wow, I really like this person. I'm really glad I know this person. Not, oh yeah, I know him. We really want to see them. We really want to be with them. We really appreciate them. You know, so that the more that is, that's why I think Lama Zopa would have us pause during that verse in that meditation. How important that is to have that energy. So rejoicing also is really good. I mentioned this last week for dealing with if you have envy or jealousy, competitiveness. Rejoicing is a really good antidote, and I personally have have used this. It's really useful, you know. And it's like medicine. The Dharma is medicine. The Buddha is the doctor. The Sangha are the support team, the nurses and the technicians in the hospital, and then the Dharma is the medicine, and then we have to take the medicine. That's the practice, right? If we don't take, doctor prescribes the medicine, we go, okay, good, and we take it home and put it in the medicine cabinet. We don't take it. Well, then, so the medicine for envy and jealousy is rejoicing. So you have to try it if you have those issues. Somebody you're competing against or whatever, and that feeling. I think first it comes from that, like, what does that feel like? That it's an agitated mind from my point of view. It's like the mind is agitated. It's not happy. It's like I can't be okay until I'm better than that person, or you know, or I feel really bad about myself because that person's so good and I'm not. It causes all this turmoil. So rejoicing is why I'm really glad that they're good at this. You know, like hell I am. I mean, in your mind you say, you fake it, almost like you say it, and you're like, I don't know, it's not true. It's like, I hope they, not fair. Then you go, well, okay, I'm gonna have to come up with some reasons. You know, it's hard to be happy, so it's nice to see that somebody's happy. Come on, I got it. This person, I kind of like them, and so it's hard to be happy. They're happy. They're doing really well. It's not easy, so good for them. And oh, I got another one. Being around people that are better than me, I can learn. I met somebody the other day. They said that when they were in gymnastics, they were the best, and it was really a hard place to be. I never thought, like that's really a hard place to be. She said, I didn't have. Everybody's trying to, be, you know, be there's pressure on you when you're in that position, you know. You have to maintain it. People are expecting it of you. There maybe some people are hoping you don't succeed, you know, and you don't have anybody you can you don't have anybody you can learn from. You don't have anybody you can learn from. So she had to move, had to move up to the next. So, that's another thing you can think about, that it's not always easy for people who are really good at something, you know. But I didn't go there. I went to the first two. Happy. It's hard to be happy. I'm glad they're happy. And it was more selfish. But but it is an antidote for the emotion that actually gets in the way of being successful, right? Because it ties you up. It makes you tense, right? There's a so then rejoicing is like so beneficial, you know? And then you can actually be friendlier to the person, be nicer to them. You can ask them for advice. How do you do it? You're humbler. You're more humble. Is it humbler or more humble? I think it's more humble. If it's two syllables, is it you go to more? Is that how it works? Slower. Yeah. You don't say more slow. Okay. So anyway. So it's an antidote, okay? It's also medicine, right? Just medicine. It's good for us, to rejoice. It's good for me to rejoice. Good for my health. Um, so we can rejoice that we all have this meditation we did. We can rejoice that we all have that. We all have that that potential. You know, we all have we can think things out. We can be kind. We all have that. We can expand that. Everybody has that. Wow, what if we didn't? I mean, that would make life a lot harder. If I couldn't learn from things, if I couldn't, you know, uh, change my mind about something, wow, it'd make it harder. So we rejoice in other people's happiness. When anytime we see anybody, any kind of happiness. Sometimes if it's based on something that's hurting people, then it's a little harder but you know what I mean. Like just simple pleasure. Somebody's enjoying a meal or, you know. We may know inside it's not the ultimate happiness. It's not lasting happiness, but just to be able to enjoy ourselves, you know. So it's rejoicing in our own and other people's happiness. Okay. So there's a verse in Lama Trupa. As for suffering, I don't wish even the slightest. No one wants to suffer. Uh, as for happiness, I'm never satisfied. I mean, we just have to check up whether that's true or not. I mean, I think there is a feeling of, yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes we feel content and satisfied, but uh, we know what it's saying, right? Like we want more, or we finish a really good meal and then we want to have it again, you know, or we eat too much. So in this, there is no difference between others and ourselves. Everybody's like this. Everybody wants to be happy. No one wants to suffer. Okay. So then it ends, inspire me. So this is it. Even if we can't do these things, even if it's difficult to rejoice, we can aspire to it because we can feel the benefits. Okay. Uh, inspire me so that I may take joy in others' happiness. Yeah. So I think Rinpoche would have stopped here, and then we can. So we'll do a meditation where we can do a little bit of that. Um, so seeing the suffering, another verse said, "Seeing the suffering in the world, may I joyfully strive with compassion for enlightenment." and not be discouraged. So seeing all the suffering in the world, seeing all the delusions and the wrong ideas of what brings happiness, right? That's kind of, I think delusion kind of is around that, isn't it? Like thinking that, you know, if I kill somebody, that's going to bring me happiness. It's like that's, I mean, that's kind of clear, isn't it? It's not really, well, not going to really do it. So there is a wrong way to rejoice, like rejoicing in doing something bad. Like, oh, I'm really glad I told, I hit that guy. I really gave it to him. Like you, like that really makes it worse, right? Like if you do something bad, and then you rejoice in it, you're really sealing the deal, or you're proud of it, right? Now you've really kind of, you'll probably do it again. You'll probably do it again. So, so that's a slippery slope. So we want to watch what we're rejoicing in. That it's something good, good. So if we see somebody, who's really doing good in the world, to rejoice for that. And Mother Teresa, somebody who's Desmond Tutu, Dalai Lama, people, you can think of examples, and just people who work at Gray Bears, people who work in the stores, who always, part of their job is to be nice to people, right? And say, are you okay? Did you find everything? I mean, so we can be so thankful to them and rejoice. So this project that you can go online and get involved in, it's called the Big Joy Project. Should be easy to remember. The Big Joy Project. So they collected data from 17,000 people in 170 countries. Okay? They found that simple acts of joy practiced for just 5 to 10 minutes daily can significantly improve happiness and well-being. 5 to 10 minutes a day. Simple acts of joy. What are simple acts of joy? Simple acts of joy make you, simple acts. So this isn't long-term things. These are quick things. These are like snacks, they call them, joy snacks. And it comes out of this book, the Book of Joy by Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu. So joy isn't just for a lucky few, it's something everyone can cultivate. So it's something to cultivate. It's something to like, okay, I'm in a really grumpy mood right now. I'm going to go stand in the mirror and smile. I mean, Thich Nhat Hanh, give one of these away today. How to smile. He's big on that. Like just smiling can change our mood, right? We don't have to smile because we're happy. We can smile to be happy, right? So, so these are just so we can actually do, and even in tough times. So these science backed. They say it's science backed. Actions like expressing gratitude, right? That's one way. Doing something kind for someone, right? Like can be anything, right? So you're on the lookout during the day for things to be grateful for, ways that you can be kind to somebody. And the last is pausing for a moment of awe. So, like, beautiful sunset, sunrise, just walking along and seeing something, um, watching a bird or a squirrel or, whatever, things like that. So they say that it changes happiness, stress, even physical health, and sleep quality. Each day for a week. That's all they ask. Each day for a week, they did random happiness activity. we believe that these small actions are powerful because they tap into the same core psychological mechanisms that longer interventions do. Longer interventions are like generating positive emotions, like, actually generating compassion and love and patience and tolerance and, equanimity, like we're all the same, like actually sitting and cultivating that and thinking of examples for yourself. And that's an analytical meditation in Buddhism. The one pointed is like watching your breath. Analytical is I'm gonna cultivate compassion. I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna think, albeit we're all the same, you know. We all want to be happy, we don't want to suffer. I really appreciate what other people do. Think of all the examples, the roads and the clothes we wear and everything people do, that benefit me, and I'd like to repay their kindness, So so the appreciation brings love, and that they're just like me, and they're suffering, and you know. So it's steps, and it's so those are more like positive emotions, reinforcing a sense of meaning in our life, fulfilling our need for connection and relatedness. So those are more long term, developing community. Uh, so the ones they're talking about are like writing a gratitude note, like to somebody, a thank you note. Do something kind for someone else. Pause to take in something awe-inspiring, like a sunset or a beautiful tree. Celebrate someone else's joy by asking them to share a recent moment of pride. That's a good one. So not only are you getting connection, you're asking somebody else to share with you something that was really meaningful to them. Huh? And then you're rejoicing in that, you know? You're rejoicing in that. You're like so happy for them, that they were happy. Reframe a recent frustration by identifying three good things that came of it. Does that ever happen to anybody? Huh? Yeah? I mean, I have, can somebody want to share something? I mean, like, I was thinking like when I've been sick and then afterwards I go, wow, okay, I learned some things. Yeah, yeah,
So I had a health issue recently, and because of that health issue, I had to stay home. And initially, it was really hard, but then I got a lot of time to kind of think and reflect on certain things that I'm doing. And how can I, like, first of all, I had the insight, and then how I could maybe change that within myself. Um, so that so the sickness actually led to something good. So that's how I look at it, and also one of the reasons for me to be here today. So I think that's how, something which is not very great can be something.
yeah. Thanks. It's hard to see it that way when it starts though, when you first get sick, or isn't
For
it?
you, it's like, wow,
Yeah, right.
right?
And yeah, and fears and worries and yeah, disrupts our routine. Yeah, yeah, I don't know what's going on, with me right now. I can't figure out what this is. I don't know what it is. Something like that. You go to doctors and have to rely on other people and talk to people and figure it out. Um, and I think also it can make you want to do good, like you're more careful. Like, I mean, one way is just maybe what you eat or how you exercise, but also mentally, like I need to, reduce my stress. I need to like be not get so do not get so angry because that raises my blood, not get so stressed or anxious. So it's like um, I'm just thinking of some of the benefits, that this verse addressed. Reflect on how you could contribute to someone else's well-being. So these are the ones the suggestions they give for these short things that you can do. Like imagine that if we were like instead of scheming how we could make more money or you know get more money from our clients or customers or raise the prices in our food or reduce the amount in the package so we'll sell it for the same price and make more money. That's where our mind is all day is thinking about ways to increase our profits. We're scheming on how we can help others. We're scheming on how, what we can do to, maybe I'll pay their bill, you know, at the restaurant, and not try to get out before they know who did it. I did that once on the Golden Gate Bridge. I paid for the person behind me. I don't go over it that often, so it was a rare occurrence, but I'd heard of that. See, that's the thing. You hear these things and you go, I want to try this. So I paid for the person behind me. Then he followed me, like he's trying to catch up and started looking in my window. I guess he thought it must be somebody he knows. I guess that's what I thought later, you know. So then, people that has happened and people it's been recorded. Like then that person pays for the person behind them and there's like this chain reaction, Yeah. And you're not doing it for that. You're not doing it for recognition. You're doing it because it's fun. You know, it's fun. And it would be fun. You know what I mean? It's just like things like um, do things like somebody says, okay, I want you to do this for me and I'll pay you, $20. And you go, well, make it 10, right? You say make it 10. Or you meet with your landlord, landlady, or land person, your person you're renting from, right? And you raise the rent. You raise the rent. It's really fun. Those are fun moments. I really recommend you trying things like that. Or somebody says it costs this much, like you go to a secondhand store and they say, okay, $10. And you go, no, that's worth 20, at least 20. I give you 20. And then maybe you can bargain. They said, okay, no, 15. And you go, okay, 15. You see what I mean? Instead of bargaining to get a better deal, you know, like you want to rip the person off. I mean, you want to get a better deal than they get, not rip them off, but, you know, you just go the other way. That's one way. There's other ways to do it, other things to do. Huh? Scheming, your premeditated acts of kindness instead of premeditated, you know what I mean? Bank robbery, whatever. Okay, so these are so you can also go to greater good in action. There's some ideas there for happiness boosting ideas. Greater good in action. Mindfulness and self-compassion exercises. So you can sign up to do this Big Joy project. You can sign up and submit your what's happened for you. Okay. I want to do another meditation, but if anybody wants to say anything or um, I never give enough time for the questions or want to say something, but I do have another little meditation. Yeah, great. Here, let Tyler give you a. I don't think they can hear you on the Zoom if you.
Stating the obvious, but in that letter, the email that you read, I think journey sent me to acceptance
From what? Resentment to accept.
acceptance of something powerful.
Yeah,
That second observation I had, I mean, realization I had when I meditated was you don't, very hard to stay in that moment, and obviously thoughts and distractions happen, and you come back, right? No matter what happens.
yeah,
You said during that meditation, no matter what you do, you may not be aware of it, that light is in you.
yeah,
Is it or not, it's in you.
yeah,
So that just a phrase helped me anchor myself in coming back, right?
yeah,
Instead of earlier, I used to punish myself saying, "What are you doing? So distracted." Instead of looking at it that way, I said, "Oh, look for the light."
yeah, yeah.
That guide really helped.
I'm getting cold chills right
Yeah,
now.
big joy project.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm somebody who finds things. I find it easier if people are very prescriptive.
yeah,
That's just me.
yeah,
So said
yeah,
the said find talk to somebody and ask them what did they achieve or that they feel happy about. To me, that is, if I can get there, that means I would have evolved in my journey of um, self-awareness.
yeah,
Because for me, the it's not easy. Even being kind, being grateful, all the other five things are not easy. But for me, those were the ones that I would always try and do and always wish to do. But this is a inspiring thing. You can go more than that. You can do more
right.
than being looking at the awe-inspiring things around you.
Yeah,
This I didn't realize one step beyond. I really care because I really feel that at the end of the day, it's all a connected world. Right? If I'm happy, you're happy,
yeah, yeah,
it ties into that belief.
yeah. Wonderful. I know, isn't it? It's like, yeah, that's great. How to stay connected to the light and the inspiration. Like instead of beating ourselves up, right? Like because it's. I mean, that's what I felt when when I had the envy. I was beating myself up. We put ourselves down. Like I'm not good enough. I can't do it. What's the matter with me? I keep screwing up. Instead of okay, that's not helpful. It's just causing more suffering. One person went. I heard this story. This person was asking a teacher, a lama. My friend was reading these inspiring quotes by you, and they feel they can't measure up, and they're feeling really bad about themselves. And the lama said, "Well, Buddhism is about being happy. That's not the purpose." But it's like we go there. We go there. So that's one of our. Some people do go to like they're not. The Dalai Lama didn't know about that low self-esteem. He didn't know about that when he first heard about it. Like what? Yeah. But I mean, more so, I think in the West, it can really show up a lot. And maybe it's because we're, I don't know, more isolated, more individualistic, more like it's on you to be successful instead of a more of a communal. You're part of a group, and I don't know. Oh, that's great about the light. and then expand it, right? Call on it, right? Call on it. Compassion, where are you? Love, come. I think that there's a lot of um, meditations like that, verses like that, where they're calling, like calling the guru from afar, like you feel so cut off. So you're beseeching, you're asking, and texts are donated are dedicated to compassion, you know, like and you're requesting, and it's not you know. I mean, there is an out there, but there's an in here, and you're like, come on, show up, you know, you know, take me over. Exciting. So let me just do this. Let's just do this little meditation, okay? I'll just try to make it 5 minutes, but it'll be also kind of a part of a dedication too. So the rejoicing and thinking of others' good qualities is not an exercise to make us feel bad. Um, it's rejoicing in also our own good deeds and our own good qualities. And so that means we have to think about them, not to boost our pride or our arrogance, but to boost our confidence, and that we too um, have good qualities that we should rejoice about. Rejoicing helps them grow. In the moment, it's beneficial. It gives us benefit, and it also helps them grow because then we want to promote them. So rejoicing in whatever measure of happiness others have brings us limitless joy to our own existence. We can rejoice when we're helping others. You know, this is what I want to be. This I enjoy. This I like to do. Because the more there's enjoyment, more there's a happy mind, the more we pursue it. We pursue it. We can find joy in others' contributions, things they've done for our benefit and our culture. People who put in our plumbing and our electricity, rejoice in their good works. Jo- Find joy and contentment in just being able to sit still and be happy without having to be doing, just in being. Think of our mentors, people who have helped us. Somebody taught us the language, our parents, our teachers. We can think of them, think of their kindness, reflect on their smile, reflect on their good qualities. So helpful to do that. Again, rejoice in meeting the Buddha Dharma or whatever paths that lead us to ultimate happiness and out of suffering. So there's a practice of called tonlen, which is giving and taking. It's taking on suffering of others, thinking about it, so that we increase our compassion, and then giving out giving to them whatever they need, and sending out love to them. So we send our goodness. Let's do this now. We're going to send all our goodness, all our wisdom. We don't lose it. It's an endless supply within us. So it's not like we're giving it away and we don't have it anymore. This is this is like it's a limitless supply. So we're going to give out our goodness, our wisdom, our joyful life energy, all our positive physical, mental, and verbal energy. Send it out to others' heart. Send it out to their heart. May they have this joy. May they have this wisdom. May they have this goodness. Send it in the form of joyful, blissful, white light energy into every being without discrimination. Without discrimination. That's everybody. Oh, I'm going to send it to everybody, but not this one person. No, everybody. Even those that we see as enemies, or that we feel they're very destructive. I mean, how could this not help them if the wisdom and energy, wisdom and compassion woke up inside them. So not just to our dear friends, but to all living beings in the universe. May they be happy. May they be wise. May they be healthy. It completely fills them with joyous energy. Completely fills all beings with joyful energy. Rejoice in this. Joyful appreciation for this situation, where we have this unlimited wisdom energy within us, compassionate energy, limitless, and we can give it out to all beings, right to their heart. Not with any agenda, not with any agenda, just so they can feel joy and be happy, because all beings want to be happy, just like me. May they be happy. How wonderful that would be. Okay, we'll stop there.